Special thank you today to Jim at Diorio Signs. Jim, you did a great job with the decals. We got these, and we got some more out on the camper itself. There's his phone numbers right there. He's right here in Colorado. Does excellent work. If you need signs or decals or anything like that, give him a call. And thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hello, it's Bill with Colorado 4x4 Van here with another update for you. And this is another pretty big one as we finally got everything put back together. And here's what she looks like. So I really like how the color combination turned out. I guess I'll start at the front up here with what we've had done. We got our new badging on the front here that my wife put on. Not expensive, but looks pretty good. The stock stuff were big decals on the side, and I really didn't want that, so we didn't do that. We got our new headlight guards put on, which I got from over in Germany. They make them for these. We got our new I should say, flexible steps put on, so I can tilt the cab with these bigger tires. Got our new fuel filler comes out here, and we can still do the expansion at some point if we decide to. Filled in where the old fuel filler was. Yeah, here's the decals from Diorio Signs that I mentioned in the intro. Got a big one there, and we got a slightly smaller one on each side. I won't tell you what these are. I'll let you research that if you care to, but they do relate to the theme of the truck. I'll give you that hint. The awning is a little high, but remember, we're going to have a pull-out porch that's going to go from about here over to the box here at some point. But I think it'll work well with, it's just above the light there, the speakers, and then this box will be our kitchen box with our barbecue and chairs and all that kind of stuff in there. And then it folds out to a table. So I think that'll work for that. But yeah, now it's back to the interior. I really like how this has all turned out, but there's still a lot of fine-tuning to do. The next part of which will be the shower. And I'll show you a little bit of that we're going to tackle next. Excuse the mess in here, but since we got the camper put back on, most of my efforts have been trying to get us back together. And a lot of that has been this shower. So I got everything cleaned up on this wall. Had electrical drains, gas lines, a bunch of stuff in here. Got all that cleaned up and situated, then sheeted it, insulated down where the sink drains go down through the floor to the gray tank. Got the heat outlet is right here, and that's boxed in right here with an air channel that can go around underneath there and out to the toilet area too. This side is all sealed off, but I still have one more piece to go. But I'm going to get the door in and make sure it's perfect before I do that, as it's kind of a pain to attach these without it. Then the next step will be, we have a system that's going to go over the top of this. Now this process hasn't been all roses. I like to stay positive and point out the good things, and that's what I try to do. But there have been, a lot of learning in this process. And John Turgeon, if you're watching, he imported an 1120 Mercedes about the same year as mine, and GRP cabin, bigger, lighter, but bigger than mine. And he's had some things he's been working through too with his. But for example, the whole reason we took this apart was to fix the pivot. The pivot at the end of last season, after all the miles we put on, was loose, and it The bearing that we'd used was steel, but the clearances were probably not what they should have been, and it failed halfway through last season. Did a bunch of research, and you need a bronze fitting, a bronze bearing with 1,000th clearance, and that's what you want. And there's only so many people that do that kind of work. We had to track somebody down from an old here locally that did it for not these purposes but for something else. And here's a backup. I got two of the sleeves, two of the bearings. So this is a bearing that will fit into the pivot here with 1,000 clearance, and just each one of these was $200 to have made. So it's little things like that you know, they're downers and they drag and wear on you, and there have been a lot of them. I mean, you know, putting the steps on because the original steps wouldn't work with these new tires to tilt the cab, and we added the boxes, but not everything was quite level and right because we didn't have the camper on there to see it, and it just goes on and on, the little things that stack up on a project this size. And I have to tell you, the mechanical things are the most frustrating because so many people are unwilling to tackle anything on Serenity because of that fancy star that's on the hood. And really, it's and the age is starting to get there too. I mean, it's 30 years old, and most of the mechanics that worked on these back in the day are retired and gone. And all of the new mechanics, they are used to plugging in a computer to tell them what's wrong, not having to actually physically troubleshoot. For example, I don't know if you can see it here, but you can see the silver plunger back there. I wasn't getting any fuel pressure last week, right before we were going to put the camper on. Would drive about a quarter mile, and then would lose fuel pressure and I'd die. And it did this for a while, and we couldn't figure it out. Maybe there's a blockage in the line, something like that. Finally narrowed it down to that little plunger, which is the mechanical part of the lift pump. It's only a $15 part. Took about a week to get it here, but changed that out, everything's fine. But yeah, it's just those little things like that that delay you by a week or here or there. Of course, I've got 2 more spares in the truck now, but the learning curve is steep, and anyone who's considering doing this, please ask specific questions. I know I don't go into the specifics too much because I really don't want someone to, you know, I'm learning by a lot of trial and error here. Let's face that. I'm be honest about that. And I don't want someone to take my word and go into it and then get upset at me. I am doing this myself. I'm pretty confident in what we've got here, but please ask questions. I'm happy to share the good and the bad. If you have specific things you're thinking about, because yeah, there are a lot of little things. There's been nothing major that's been bad for us, but there have been enough little things where you add them all together, and yeah, some family members have asked me, why have you stuck with this? It's amazing you've stuck with this for 2 years now, because it's been such an up and down thing. But no, we do get a lot of pleasure out of it. We're addicted to the freedom it gives us. So that outweighs all the others. But yeah, this year we have been definitely over budget and behind schedule. But then again, we did some things that we're never going to do again, like the paint job. We're never going to paint it again. We did do all the wheel bearings, which, while that was a pretty big expense, the kind of mileage that we put on it per year, they'll probably outlast us. The fuel tank was a big thing, but we're not going to do that again. So I mean, there's a lot of things that we're doing for the first time that we won't do again, and that is consolation in the long run. But yeah, on years like this where we poured a lot into it, it has been a little overwhelming. But we're excited to be close to getting it back on the road. The interior stuff will start up again here now, beginning with attaching. You can't see it under there, I don't think. Oh yeah, right here is where the drains come into my gray tank. I've got 2 long drain hoses hooked to that I'll pull up through the floor, so I can hook up the shower and the sink to the gray tank, get that all set, and that'll be the beginning of the bathroom finish, which will probably happen next week. And then we're free to go on the road for a while. There's a lot of little things. I'm finishing up all the cabinets and stuff in here, but we're kind of desperate to get out of here for a while. So I think we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna get it as close as we can, and then we're gonna start using it, and I'll just tinker with it when I have time. So at any rate, big milestone. Happy to have her all back together. Really like the color combination. I think it turned out really nice, and most of what we've done I've really been happy with. Like I said, it's just some little things that you're gonna have to keep on working on over time, especially the mechanical stuff, but we'll deal with that as time comes. Until next time.